subject to full law more so, the freedom of information law. They bring communications of certain exceptions concerned in their agency communications. So
What?
that's what I'm, where my mind
You're
goes.
just gonna be quiet?
Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to Hyde Park Town Board regular meeting for Monday, May 23rd. I'd like to call this meeting to order, and please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to have a motion to accept the May 9th meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Do we have any public comments on any resolutions for this evening?
I'm representing Robert Pollard, the Director of the Recreation Department. He asked me to read this letter because he wouldn't be able to be here tonight. Dear Allen officers of the town...
Excuse me, sir, can we have your name, please?
Sure. David Murray.
Thank you.
I am writing you in regards to the Resolution 59-2 of 2022 Local Law Number B of the year 2022. A local law amending the Town of Hyde Park Town Code to add Chapter 29 entitled Veterans Affairs Committee. Forming of the Veterans Affairs Committee is an important addition to the Town of Hyde Park. Greater awareness to veteran service and affairs is important for a closer and more inclusive community. In regards to the aforementioned resolution, the Recreation Commission and Recreation Director request clarification on Section 4, Duties and Responsibilities. Item 1, the Veterans Affairs Committee shall oversee the planning of the Memorial Day and Veterans Day observances. As you are aware, the Recreation Commission and Recreation Department has been extremely successful in planning, organizing, and implementing the Memorial Day Parade. This event has been the responsibility of the Recreation Commission and Department for more than 30 years. Well-rooted procedures and traditions have been developed over many decades, and we have it to a point to ensure the event's success. We are unclear if these traditions and procedures will be impacted by the new law. We ask that changes which alter the traditional practices be communicated clearly to all parties involved to ensure the future success of these events for our community members. Sincerely, Robert Pollard, Recreation Director.
Thank you very much.
I'll make a comment on that. I got the letter today. I spoke to Rob, and just so you know, I did speak to Rob, and I spoke to other board members here that know more about the Recreation Commission. And once this formation is complete, I will have both in one room at one time, and we will discuss the do's and don'ts, or, you know, of crossing wires and all that. They're more for, it's not going to be what they're worried about, put it that way, you know. And I told them I'll take care of it.
Jim Bishop, 27 Fuller Lane, same subject to veterans. Just the clarity of it. I understand what you just said, and that's great, but I said I was going to talk, so I'm going to come and talk. Services. That's the point. I wish it said services at Town Hall. I wish it clarified the parade not being the service. So that's just my concern. I hate to see somebody get on a power trip and think that they're in charge of a parade, they're in charge of planning, you know, something that's been going on forever. So I think it's a great idea, good idea, but I just wish there was a little clarity on what services mean. Thank you.
Duly noted. Well, you know how to get a point across.
Okay, we can all go home now.
That's it. Meeting's over. We could yell. No, is it recording now?
Nope, he's coming.
It should be.
one of these, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's pointing at each other.
Each other, they should be pointing at you.
See, Tad, you're not supposed to point at Pete.
I think that means that she wants me to do all the talking.
I got that impression already. I guess we have to wait until it comes.
So they can't.
We're live.
Point.
I think we're live.
We're back.
Yeah.
Okay, next.
There we are. See, Jim, so it wasn't, yeah, your fault.
It was mine,
It wasn't that you were speaking too loud.
sorry.
Okay, 2021-22 MS4 permit annual report. Donna, can you read the public hearing notice as it appears in the paper?
Please take notice that the Town Board of the Town of Hyde Park will hold a public hearing on the 2021-2022 MS4 Permit Annual Report for the Town of Hyde Park, Dutchess County, New York, on Monday, May 23rd, 2022 at 6:05 p.m. A copy of the proposed 2021-2022 MS4 Annual Report is available for review on the Town of Hyde Park website at www.hydeparkny.us and is available for inspection at the Town Clerk's office during normal business hours. By order of the Town Board of the Town of Hyde Park, dated April 18th, 2022, Hyde Park, New York, Donna McGrogan, Town Clerk.
May I have a motion to open the public hearing regarding the proposed law regarding, oh, that's not it. No,
Purple, MS4.
where's the MS4? Oh, I got the wrong paper. I told you I was colorblind. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing regarding the 2021-22 MS4 report?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Invite Tad.
Okay.
Give a description of the MS4 report, or we can have Pete do it, whichever you prefer.
Pete, please.
Okay.
Pete, please.
Have at
Okay,
it.
so I'm going to try to give you the Reader's Digest version of this. This is a whole new board, and you're probably saying, what the heck is MS4? So I'm going to try to just give you, the rundown like quick. So back in 2003, the New York State DEC enacted Stormwater Regulations. They were partially mandated by the federal government under the Clean Water Act. And the stormwater regulations pertain to all of New York State. And the main purpose of the regulations was to raise awareness for erosion control on construction sites, improving water quality, discharge from like projects, like for instance, like Belfield. When they develop, they're going to be, basically it was like a blank site, like woods. So now they're going to develop it, right? So you're going to have roads, buildings, all that kind of stuff. So they need to create stormwater facilities to control the runoff from the site as it discharges to mainly the culverts that are along 9. So as you add, impervious areas, you're going to increase the amount of runoff. They need to do something on their own site, to mitigate that, to basically keep the rate of runoff after their development the same as it was before they had started. At the same time, they're supposed to, and that's not just specifically like Belfield, but any project, they're also supposed to improve the water quality of the discharge leaving the site. So that's the main purpose of the DEC stormwater regulations. Now, as part of that, the DEC, through the federal government, also designated various municipalities and communities as what they call MS4 communities. And MS4 means Municipal Separate Stormwater System. How they came up with that, I'm not really sure, but that's what it is. And you are designated as an MS4 community based upon, your census. So I don't remember what the exact number is. I think that the minimum is 20, 20,000 people. So Hyde Park is at the northernmost end of, MS4. So you go from Long Island all the way up, like the line, and in Dutchess County, we're it. We're the end. So, the regulations that were, developed, the same things pertain to Hyde Park as they pertain to any town in Westchester County and Rockland County. So as part of being an MS4 community, we're required to produce an annual report based upon things that we've done throughout like the year to show that we are complying with the regulations. And there's six different parts of the regulations. I'm just going to go through them. I'm not going to get into what each one of them mean. But the first one is public education and outreach. The second is public involvement participation. So the first two are kind of, how do you get the public involved? How do you educate, the public that we have these stormwater regulations? What are they for? So if you walk in when you come in the back door, you'll see on the table, Tad puts out a lot of printed, materials on, the program, stormwater. The other thing is Dutchess County formed a MS4 committee, and Tad goes to the meetings. I believe they're held monthly. And so the communities get together, work with the Dutchess County Soil and Water Conservation District. The Soil and Water Conservation District helps out the towns a lot by basically doing much of what's in numbers 1 and 2. They go to the Dutchess County fair, they advertise, they promote stormwater, and so on and so forth. The third one is illicit discharge detection and elimination. That sounds pretty complicated. It's more for the more populated communities where they have manufacturing sites, industrial sites. You have to go worry about discharges from those sites into the storm drain system. Here, for us, it's basically failing septic systems. We don't have manufacturing facilities. So what we do with our program is if we get a failing septic system that's reported to us either by a resident or by the highway department, if they're out doing some work, they happen to smell something, they will call Tad, and myself. And then, our process to that is we basically work with the Dutchess County Department of Health because the town cannot regulate and enforce a failing septic system. So we simply call the health department. They're very good. They follow up. They take care of, whatever it is. They get back to us. We put that information in our file, and that shows that we acted on it, and we work with the health department, and they closed it. So the fourth one is construction site stormwater runoff, and that's what I talked about before, using the Belfield example. When applicants come before the planning board, we have to review their drainage plans, and so as part of our MS4 report, we document, okay, how many of those drainage plans did we review during that year. So that's number 4. And again, I'm trying to go through it quick. Number 5 is post-construction stormwater management. That is basically again, I'll use the culinary site. So the culinary over the years has come in for various projects. So as part of that, they have to prepare a stormwater plan, and as part of the stormwater plan, they have certain mitigation facilities where they have to control the runoff. So every year, whether it be on a private site or a public site, we don't have many. I think we've only got a couple that are in the town's control, and mostly have to do when there's a subdivision road built and there's a stormwater management pond that controls, the runoff and the water quality. If the town accepts the subdivision road, we also normally accept, the stormwater. So we're supposed to go document that. But an example of, the culinary, they are supposed to submit every year a report to the town that a New York State professional engineer has come out, inspected their permanent stormwater facilities, attest to if they're working right, if they need to be fixed, then this is what needs to be done. So we are supposed to get those. I don't believe that many of our sites are keeping up with providing us with that report, but Tad, is good about sending out reminders to them. So that was number 5. So the last topic as part of the stormwater regs is stormwater management for municipal operations. So basically, that topic deals with the highway department and deals with the recreation department. And primarily, we have to document, the salt storage, how it's done for highway, how many catch basins were cleaned throughout, the year. If any of, the streets, are swept, I don't think we do any. Do you do any? When you pave, right. So any of the roads that are being paved in that year, all the catch basins are clean, the streets, are swept. We also work with Howie and the recreation, department to document the chemicals that they have on site, how they're stored. And again, that's all information that has to go into, our annual, report. So the annual report is basically a checklist on how the town is conforming to the 6 topics that I mentioned. And again, Tad does primarily most of that work. I help her out where I can. One of the problems that we have, along with many other communities, in Dutchess, is that there's no funding available from the government to implement this program. So Hyde Park, along with several other towns, we do the best that we can. It's tough. I believe that Tad puts in a request yearly almost in her budget to get some money for the MS4 program, but it's tough for towns because you have a tax cap. There's only so much money that can be spent. There's a lot of priorities. So historically, there really hasn't been any additional funding for the MS4 program, and it's not unlike other towns around here because everybody is strapped, and so unfortunately, it's not going to really get any better because there's a new set of stormwater requirements that are coming out soon. That of course never get easier; they get harder. So the DEC is putting more onus on MS4 communities to do more, but there's no funding that's provided. So I don't think the new permit is out yet. There's several communities, including Hyde Park, that have sent letters saying, please, for communities like Hyde Park, we shouldn't be judged the same as a community in Westchester County. We should have much more lower thresholds because we don't have the type of things that some community down in Westchester County has or in Rockland County. But so far, my guess is that it's basically going to fall on deaf ears. So we'll have to see how the new permit comes out, and we'll have to deal with it as it comes. But for right now, the report that we generate every year has to be submitted to the DEC the first week in June, although it's not, a few years ago, I think that they did away with the requirement that you had to have a public hearing, but as long as you posted it on the website, is that correct?
There is not a requirement for a public hearing, but if we get 2 comments during a public meeting.
That's right.
Then we have to go back and hold a public hearing. So instead of trying to backtrack while we're in the middle of trying to go forward.
We do it anyways,
We do
basically.
it anyway.
So we have this like
We have-
hearing, you know, the MS4 annual report was posted on the website, what, a month ago, maybe?
At least a month ago.
Like, so if anybody wants to go on, like, and look at it, I personally don't remember in all the years of doing this that we've had
We had 1 comment last year.
one comment last year. So this is just like a requirement, so we're here to have a public hearing. If anybody has any comments, we're here, you know, to take them, you know, we'll answer them.
And if appropriate, we'll make changes before the report's submitted.
So I wanted to keep it, you know, short. It's the Reader's Digest version. Be glad to answer any, you know, questions, but Tad does an awesome, like, job. She's very, you know, like, dedicated. She just doesn't have enough, you know, like, time. There's just, you know, a lot of things, you know, like, to do, and I try to go help where I can. And so I think we do, you know, I think we do a pretty good, like, job. I'm sure we could do a little, like, better, but we have had, like, audits. The DEC, every once in a while, will do a random audit. I think we've had, what, 2, maybe like 3?
2.
And we've done, you know, like, okay. I mean, you know, they always, like, come up with, hey, you know, you need to do this a little better, do that a little better, but, you know, for, you know, the most part, we've done, you know, like, okay.
We haven't had any fines.
Yeah, we haven't had any fines, so that's.
Is there any
good thing.
violations or fines?
No.
So then
No
you're doing
fines.
a good job.
So that's it.
Okay.
Very,
I just had one question, if I can.
sure,
I
yeah.
think that was number 5, with the state report. Is that an annual report that people are supposed to get? And I was wondering if you guys knew off the top of your head what the cost of that report was to have it done?
You know, that's really what, I guess any engineer or engineering firm like, you know, like ours would, you know, like charge to go out like and do that. I think probably, I want to say I would, you know, if I was going to give somebody a price, I would probably say in the $1,500 range or so to go out, you know, and look at the facility and see if it's, you know, like functioning the way it's, you know, supposed to function, and
And
it's
that's mostly
basically like a letter report.
For commercial?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, like, once, like, Belfield gets, like, developed, they'll have to submit an annual, like, report that their stormwater facilities are functioning. You know, Saki's going now, so once they're operational, they'll have to go do it. I know the culinary has some, I believe, Azarian's Plaza has some also.
Okay,
So-
thank you.
Okay, I've received,
Lynn?
So, if I understand, when plan is put forward for building, construction plan, they have to be made aware of the requirements of,
Yeah, I mean, when,
All
Go ahead.
building permit applications come through my office, and before they're authorized, if they need an erosion sediment control permit, I don't authorize the building permit until that has been issued.
and I believe that there's like an instruction sheet, right, that goes with the building, like,
There's a checklist.
you know, like if somebody comes in and wants to make an application before, you know, the planning board, or wants to make a building permit application for, you know, something that's not before the planning board, as part of that application, there's some information in the application package that talks about the stormwater and, you know, when you need to take out a permit and when, you know, you don't. So when the applicants come in and pick up, you know, their package, you know, they can see, oh, I need to go hire like an engineer because I need to, like, conform to this. And then either, If it comes before, the planning board, then we'll review the stormwater plan as part of the planning board-like process. If it's a project that doesn't go before, the planning board, like for instance, if somebody comes in for just like a building like permit, they have to take out, even for just a single lot, they have to take out an erosion and sediment control permit. It's not that like complicated. You basically have to show on your lot how you're going to put, the silt fence in, how you're going to protect, the runoff from getting off the site onto somebody else's property. Tad and I look at it like together. They need to make some changes. They'll make some changes. Then the permit will be issued, and then they can move on to their building permit process. So we have a lot of checks and balances. And, Tad and I go out and we visit, the sites, like regularly. Some people do a better job than others as far as keeping their sites, like clean and their silt fence up. And, and there's some folks that over the past couple of years, Tad's had to issue stop work orders because they just didn't comply. We said, hey, this is a problem, you got to go fix it. They don't fix it. So Tad's got to issue them a violation, and then they fix it.
So that was my follow-up. What the enforcement is, if it gets bad enough,
Yeah,
stop work.
Yeah, we enforce it. Yep. I mean, if it gets real bad, we can take them to court. I don't think you've ever have you? We've never had to take anybody to court, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's looking at me, so that scares me.
Yeah, there's a couple projects that are coming up that we may have to crack down on. But.
Okay. Anything else from the board? No? We good?
So I guess we have to see, you just have to see if there's any public comment.
Gonna ask that question.
Well, one thing that we should, as the board, moving forward, definitely for the next budget year, when we start looking into line items, I think that we, like Pete says, we've been skating along very well lately, but I read a lot of these requirements and what the MS4 requirements are. It's not only problematic for Tad, it's going to be considerable man hours for somebody to document, check things.
It's crazy.
Look at plans, on and on. So I think that there's got to be somewhere along the way, we should start thinking about putting a line item in there for whatever provisions we're going to make sure that we stay on track.
Agreed.
The regulations are not overly crazy if you're dealing with Long Island, lower Westchester, where there's a lot more things happening. There's a lot more, issues that can happen. But for a small town like Hyde Park, where we're on, the fringe, we're it. So if you go to Rhinebeck, or Red Hook, they don't have to do any of this stuff. So, it just doesn't seem fair why a smaller community like Hyde Park should be treated the same as Long Island. It's just, but nobody's been able to convince the DEC otherwise to this point. So we'll continue to do the best that we can. And
Well, it's good to see that people can hear that it's not the town of Hyde Park doing this to developers or people building. This is a requirement
Right.
that we're being imposed with.
Right.
That you guys have been scraping to try to make, it's not going to go away, it's only going to get worse.
yeah.
So it's good that, because a lot of people question, what we got to do. Hey, this isn't us. This is being imposed on us. And I agree with you. It's a little over the top. It's going to get worse, like John said.
I mean, the regulations have been good because it has raised awareness of erosion control on sites. Al knows being a contractor. John obviously knows being an excavator. It has raised awareness, and that's a positive thing.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to improve water quality. Back in the old days, before these regs, we'd engineer a site so to make sure that the increase in asphalt, the increase in runoff off a site, all we would basically do is dig a hole in the ground, put an outlet control structure in there with different holes in it to, meter, the outflow of like water so it, goes off-site at a controlled, like rate, and that was it. But now it's, within that, like basin that we have now, there's certain things you can put in there that'll improve the quality of, the water before it goes through the outlet structure and gets off the site. So that's like a positive. So there are a lot of like positives, but, the workload is a negative, so.
Agreed.
But-
Thank you. Thank you very much. Did we have any public comments?
None filed.
None filed. Okay, I'd like to ask for a motion to close the public hearing regarding the MS4.
Yeah. You just.
So moved.
Did you have any public comments that came into you, Tad?
No. I just didn't know if somebody was here to speak.
You'll be posted.
Is anyone here to speak?
Okay. All right, we have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right. Donna, can you read the public hearing notice as it appears in the newspaper regarding the Veterans Fair Committee?
Please take notice that the Town Board of the Town of Hyde Park shall conduct a public hearing on the adoption of proposed Local Law B of the year 2022, entitled A Local Law Amending the Town of Hyde Park Town Code to add Chapter 29, entitled Veterans Affairs Committee, on May 23, 2022 at 6:10 p.m. at the Hyde Park Town Hall located at 4383 Albany Post Road, Hyde Park, New York, 12538. A copy of said local law is available for inspection at the town clerk's office during normal business hours and will be posted on the town's official website. All persons desiring to be heard on the local law shall be given an opportunity to do so at the public hearing. By order of the Town Board of the Town of Hyde Park, dated May 10th, 2022, Hyde Park, New York, Donna McGrogan, Town Clerk.
Thank you, Donna. I ask for a motion to open the public hearing regarding this local law for the Veterans Fair Committee.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. I've already kind of gave a description, but I'd like to know if there's any public comments.
And just for the record, the two gentlemen that spoke earlier, your comments, I know that there was reference to any resolutions this evening, but they'll be put with this public hearing as that's what they were applicable to, unless there's anything you have to say in addition to what was said. Okay, thanks.
Any other comments? No? Okay, I'd like to have a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. We'll move on. Oh, workshop. Town of Hyde Park Highway Superintendent to present an overview for the 2022 paving schedule for the town of Hyde Park. Howard Fisher. If anybody doesn't know who he is.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Very good, Howard.
All righty. So, first off, I'd like to thank Al and the current town board. Al took the time to drive around Hyde Park with me and get beat up in my truck a little bit. And I appreciate that because, you know, you can tell people how bad the roads are, but when you take them out and show them, you really get to see the difference. So with that, it's time for the 284 agreement amendment. So I know some of you had questions about the 284 agreement. The 284 agreement is signed in the beginning of the year. That frees me up. It's the money that you guys do through our budget. And it's money so that if there's an emergency, stone, we need coal patch, we need any kind of material, we can go get it. So that's why the 284 agreement's in place. Then we do the amendment later on, once we get the money from the state, which is the CHIPS money, and then we decide how much money we have and how much we can do paving. Of course, this year was a little bit different. Everything has pretty much doubled. So with the CHIPS money, it's it's broke down into a bunch of different groups. There's CHIPS, there's winter recovery, there's Pave New York, and now there's a new line item called POP, which is a patching in place, which we run through the paver anyway, so it's paving. So with that, the amount came out to $422,872.32. And with the first price I got to do one of my roads was $463,000, pretty much almost $464,000. So we didn't even have enough to do 2 miles of road, which every year we've done 3, 1 year 4 miles, and it's kind of been what we've tried to maintain, because when I took office, we only did 1.5 miles a year, which had a 65-year turnaround for roads. So now we're down to a 31-year turnaround, but I don't know what we're going to do after this year. I want to thank the previous town board for putting some money aside for me in the salt budget, which we're allowed to use for paving. Also, the current town board for giving me some more money on top of that to be able to do we're going to do 3.4 miles of road this year. And it's going to cost a lot. I mean, as you can see on your spreadsheet, it's about $760,000, which normally that would do us about 5 miles of road. But there's no time to stop and only do 1.5 miles of road and walk away, because we're never catching up. And I want the townspeople to know that my guys don't like being out there on a patch truck every day, and that's what they're doing, because our roads are pretty beat up after this winter. But they're out every day patching, and there are some roads out there that are really beat up. So everybody wants a brand-new road. We get it. You know, we'd love to give everybody a brand-new road, but you can't raise the taxes that high. You know, everybody wants to stay under the tax cap, and so we're gonna have to come up with something. Hopefully, you know, next year, the money comes back down, the fuel oil prices, where we can keep on track, but I don't know where we're gonna find the money at this rate. I mean, this was a bonus year with the new board coming in, finding that extra money, also the previous year's money, but we're not gonna have that every year. So it's something we should consider, maybe doing a road bond within the next year or so. So depending, I mean, I wouldn't do a road bond right now, because you're not gonna get your money's worth out of it. You know, until the prices come back down, it would be kind of silly to throw tax money away. So with that, if you guys have any questions, I'm sure you all.
No, for the record, the price is going up because of the oil internationally, right?
Yes. So the trucking to bring the product to the job site, you're paying those truckers, you're paying the fuel price, the fuel for the blacktop, everything. I mean, you can't even go to the grocery store. There's just, I think people are finding a way to charge you more on every item, whether it costs more because of the fuel or not. It's just what's happening everywhere. So it's kind of terrible, because with the amount of money we have this year, we should be doing a lot more roads. But we have no control over it. I did send back the numbers to Peckham, and I want to thank Peckham. They're the ones that paid for us, and they came back with better numbers the second time. But we did make some changes to the way we pave. Nothing that's going to affect the roads coming out really good. They seem to be going pretty good here with the jobs. So, but yeah, it's just going to be one of them years where we're going to have to get through, and then hopefully come up with something better next year if we can.
I want to clarify one thing. I was asked today on a conversation about, do we have enough money for salt now?
Yes. So with
Clarify that.
So with the salt, I changed the way we did salt. The previous town board had basically said to me, find ways to save money in your department, we'll give that back to you in blacktop. So what I did is, we don't use treated salt every time we go out. We use regular salt. If the temperature drops below 20 degrees, then we go to treated salt, because it works. We were paying $104 a ton for treated salt, and putting it out whether it was going to be 35, 40 the next day. when I first went to the county and got on the county bid, it was $59 a ton. Then it was 62 this year a ton, which is still a lot. So I was saving about 200,000 a year, which they gave to me in blacktop. So that was one of the ways, try and be creative to get more money to the townspeople, more roads, I should say. So that seemed to work. Of course, now salt's going to go up probably 20% more. We're still saving compared to what we were doing, but no, there's salt money.
Right.
Yeah. And both barns are full right now, so we're already 2 barns full for next year.
Just don't want anybody out there to think that now we took the extra salt money that you saved, the way you did it by combining, and we don't have any salt money left.
No, we have salt money. Now, hopefully it doesn't snow, but we have salt.
Oh, we got it.
So, yeah, that's all I have. I don't really have much. If anybody has anything to say. I mean, we do know there's 3 roads I would love to see get paved, but it just doesn't work, and that's Reservoir Road, Mills Cross Road, and Cardinal Road. They're 3 big roads. It would take a good injection of money to get them done, and you know, I took you for a ride on them.
Yep. Can you explain one thing, so if people are listening can understand the methodology utilized to determine the roads that get paved, not just that they're the oldest and the newest, what we were discussing in the vehicle that day, which I think is the only approach to take.
Right, so I have a list from the county. The county went out and did a list for the town, and this was probably back quite a few years ago, and roads do change year after year, but it is something that we can pull from. And they rated our roads. They rated every one of our roads, from poor, fair, good, and new. So when I first took office, I used that list as a Bible. Then other things come into play, the amount of traffic on a road. So if you take one of the upper roads in town, which there's not a lot of houses on, there's not as much traffic as, let's say, South Cross Road, that has the school buses, the school, the teachers, every day driving on it. So you have to kind of use a little bit of all that. And how long has it been since the road's been paved? Like South Cross Road was paved back in 1988, 89, in that time frame. So it's been a long time. So there have been some roads that were done that didn't hold up. So do you go back and do them a second time before you do roads that haven't been done in over 40 years? So there's a lot that comes into play, and you're not going to make everybody happy, but you just keep plugging and you beg for money. You try and get more money every time you go to do more roads. That's all you can do. And hopefully this fuel oil thing changes.
Agreed. Anyone have any
But
comments?
again, thank you. You know, you are putting the money into the roads. We are doing what we can do. That's all we can keep doing.
Howard, can you repeat one of the top 3 roads on your wish list there? It was Cardinal?
They're not my top 3. I'm saying these are roads that really need to get done.
Right.
2 of those roads out of the 3 were done and should be held up better than what they did, but they didn't.
And what were the
And that
3?
was Reservoir and Mills
Oh,
Cross
Reservoir,
Road. Cardinal Road is one of those ones I've been looking to do, but we're plugging out some big roads here and there. We've done Falk Hill, you know, we've done Beck Road, we've done Haviland Road. We're not just going out and doing dead ends to try and say, oh, we did this amount of roads. But the bigger roads cost a lot, and you're doing one road compared to 5 roads somewhere else. So, and they take money. Like I said, just 400 and, well, the second price I got for was 438,000. That's for 2 miles of road. So it's quite a bit, and that's not including all the prep work we have to do, sweeping the road, raising the basins, cleaning the pipes out, you know, fixing anything. If there's galvanized pipe in the ground, we're replacing it with plastic, so we're not digging up a brand-new road after. So, I mean, some of you guys that are in the construction, you know, it's a lot of prep work. So, it's not, that's just the price for blacktop, what you see in front of you. And I planned on using my drainage budget this year to offset the cost so we can keep that number going.
And you've been, I mean, I did the drive-through with you.
Yes.
And you were pointing out how you're not just doing patchwork, you're actually doing it thoroughly so that it stands up for more years.
Every time we do a road, when you do use CHIPS money, you're supposed to guarantee that it's going to last 10 years. You can't go back to that road for at least 10 years. You can't go back and say, this didn't hold up, we got to do it again. 10 years, that's what you're telling them when you're doing it. So, yeah, we do it differently now. We do our roads in 2 coats. We don't just put it down in one. It gives us a better control of the thickness we're putting down. So if they go over it and then, you know, it starts to break up and you only got 1/4 of an inch when you paid for 2.5 inches, you better control. So we want our roads to hold up.
Good. Thank you.
All ready?
I'd like to, it's up to the rest of the board, but I would like to have you start having conversations with the controller. I'd like to see if you could provide us, the town board, a list of what road bonds we have out to date, what is outstanding, when they mature, what years they were done, so that the rest of the board can figure out. I know a few years back, we did Roosevelt Road, we did Dorsey Lane. Some of them roads are in brutal shape.
And you're still paying for them.
And we're still paying for them, and we
Yes.
have, I'm thinking many years till the bonds even come due on them roads. So if you could work with Jim and see if they can provide the town board with a list, I think we could take a look at that and start seeing where we're at to give us a better perspective also.
I've been looking at some different methods instead of trying to repave them all, to resurface them, trying something different. Because, you know, again, you're going back to a road that's been done, that didn't hold up, but you still got all these other roads that keep getting skipped to go back. And, you know, it's not really fair to a taxpayer who's paying tax all these years, and you're seeing the same road get done twice. And, you know, I've seen it in my time here, roads being done twice, while other roads haven't.
Agreed.
Okay?
Anybody else? No? Good?
Well, just keep up the good work. You guys are
Thank you,
doing
guys.
good work. Good job.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Time. Okay. Nicole, you're up to bat.
Resolution 523-1 of 2022, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Supervisor and Town of Hyde Park Highway Superintendent to execute an amended agreement for the expenditure of highway monies for 2022, 284 agreement for the Town of Hyde Park Highway Department.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution 523-2 of 2022, resolution adopting proposed local law number B of 2022 entitled, "A Local Law Amending the Town of Hyde Park Town Code to Add Chapter 29," entitled Veterans Affairs Committee.
Okay, may I have a motion? May I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Donna, can you make a roll call?
Councilwoman Noakes.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ruggiero.
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilman Prusakowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torrigiani.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Motion, or law goes into bye-bye.
Resolution 523-3 of 2022, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to appoint members to the newly established Veterans Affairs Committee.
All right, may I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. No. The names?
Resolution 523-4 of 2022, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Term Clerk to submit the standard workday and reporting resolution for 2022 as required by the New York State Comptroller in accordance with the New York State Retirement System requirements.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution 523-5 of 2022, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to approve the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation 2021-2022 MS4 Permit Annual Report.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution 523-6 of 2022. Resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to amend the Town of Hyde Park Employee Handbook regarding health insurance for the Town of Hyde Park Town Justices.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution 523-7 of 2022. Resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to appoint Joshua, was it Logert? Vogert?
Wait.
It's just vote.
Vote?
Point.
Vote.
And,
Vote.
and Benjamin Long as part-time police assistants for the Town of Hyde Park Police Department.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
John, you better be careful driving around.
Yeah, I know. Throwing some of them names out, I'm gonna be in the doghouse.
Resolution 523-8 of 2022, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to accept a donation on behalf of the Town of Hyde Park Police Department from the Town of Hyde Park Police Benevolent Association in the amount of $8,500 to be used towards the Hyde Park Police Department's new canine program.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you to two very generous people.
Resolution 523-9 of 2022, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to accept donations from the Rhinebeck Bank, Hyde Park Lions Club, and the Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce to be utilized for the Town of Hyde Park Recreation's 2022 Music in the Parks Series.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried.
Can I just say, I think it's great. We are back in the national parks for the Music in the Parks, so this is going to be a great summer. I'm really happy.
Resolution 523-10 of 2022. Resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Supervisor to renew the lease agreement with the Reformed Dutch Church of Hyde Park for the Town of Hyde Park Recreation Senior Center for 2022 to 23.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution 523-11 of 2022, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Supervisor to execute an agreement between Hyde Park Baseball, Inc. and the Town of Hyde Park Recreation Department to provide a youth baseball and softball program for the residents of the Town of Hyde Park as of the town's recreation program for the year 2022.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution 523-12 of 2022, a resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Supervisor to execute an agreement between Hyde Park Soccer, Inc., the Town of Hyde Park Recreation Department, to provide youth soccer program for the residents of the Town of Hyde Park as part of the town's recreation program for the year 2022.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution 523-13 of 2022, resolution authorizing the Town Supervisor to execute a contract between the Hyde Park President's Youth Football and Cheerleading Program and the Town of Hyde Park to run an American Youth Football Conference and Cheerleading Program as part of the town's recreation program for the year 2022.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Should we do this without new or old business? We have none.
I just wanted to put out a recognition and a thank you to the Boy Scouts Troop 37 here in Hyde Park. They were here over the weekend, yesterday in that blazing hot sun, planting flowers out at the memorial again this year for us. So thank you to those young gentlemen. They also use it as a learning opportunity. So it's always nice and spruce it up for Memorial Day. So thank you to them.
Yeah, and thank you to the Boy Scouts while you're on the same note, and the veterans and everybody coming out a couple weekends ago to help pick up the papers and the trash along St. Andrews Road. That was greatly appreciated for everybody that came out and gave a good effort. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, if that's it, I have a motion going to executive session. Okay. All right, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.